how you feeling?
Cool.
Feeling all right? You ready to roll? You ready to do this? You sure?
Better hurry up before that baby wake up.
Oh boy. Yeah. Whoo. Late, okay, at OneYoungsta, hold it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, coming with another wonderful episode of, that's right, BlackTogether. We are finally back. I told y'all, boy, that scheduling with that baby boy, whoo. Anyway, I'm not by myself. I'm joined by the awesome, incredible queen, Lady Lisa. Say what's up.
Hey, y'all.
So today we'll be getting into finances with marriage and whoa, hold up, Jamal Lee early in the Jamal Lee, what up? Jamal Lee, thank you for rolling through in the chat with a super chat. $20 in the super chat. Big shout out to you. Talk about cause I forget sometimes. Yo, man.
He knew we was talking about finances today. He was like, you know what?
He was like, I'll make sure y'all black money together. Let the dollar circulate. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, speaking of dollar circulate, you can always look down in the comments. I got black companies and stuff that you can buy from down below in the description. So you can get your dollar circulate on. With that said, big shout out. What's up? Good to have y'all here. Everybody who's watching on the replay and people coming into the chat as we speak. So we'll be getting into, of course, finances, marriage, but we're going to talk about something first. This was a statement that was made on Love and Marriage Huntsville by the
OWN
therapist.
Was it on the OWN? Is it on OWN? Or?
Yeah, it's on OWN. And this was made by the therapist, but I'll let Lisa tee up the rest.
Okay, so we watched this show, Love and Marriage Huntsville, that comes on OWN, and it's a reality show. And there's a man who, what was it, Martell?
Yeah, Martell.
Martell was going to therapy. Martell had an affair on his wife, and he's been going to therapy to a counselor who he doesn't seem very... He
don't seem like he's the best counselor.
He don't seem very legit to me.
He seemed like the most budget theater counselor you can find.
Stuff that he says is just like, okay. But he asked Martell if he believes that his wife loves him, I believe he said unconditionally. Unconditionally,
yes.
And he said, and Martell answered yes. He said, well, then that means you won't cheat again. And it's like, what? No. Like, I could understand if he said, do you love your wife? Unconditionally. Yeah. Then that means you shouldn't cheat on me. But I didn't get the connect between the two, because the thing is this, quite honestly, if he believes, you could say that if he believes that she loves him unconditionally, then that gives him more room to cheat, because it's like, it don't matter what I do, she's gonna. So
because there's no condition to it,
right? There's and I don't believe in unconditional. There's always conditions.
There's a condition.
There's always conditions. But anyway,
there's a condition.
Yeah, I just thought that was really weird, and like I don't get the quite get the connect between the two.
Kind of like like Lisa was saying, Martell had been cheating numerous times with this girl.
Yeah, he had an affair.
We've heard all kinds of stories. He bought her a car, all kinds of mess. He been going wild. Allegedly. So, in working through this, we thought that this was a very interesting point, because he was like, if you believe she loves you, then that means you won't cheat. No, you mean you won't cheat. There is nothing. I don't think that they're short of maybe like micromanaging your life. There ain't nothing that this woman is going to do or this man is going to do to keep you from cheating. You got to keep you from cheating.
Exactly.
Yes, I know there are situations where people can push you away emotionally and spiritually and mentally. I understand that. But I'm talking about, say, once you have cheated, there's nothing that I can do or someone else can do to make you stop. You know what I'm saying? You have to stop. Yeah. This is a you issue. Now, even though there may have been contributing factors, the only one that can stop it is you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it's this idea of like, oh, well, if she has unconditional love for you, everything's going to be all right.
And nobody made you cheat. Can we talk about too? Nobody makes you cheat.
Yeah.
That's a choice too. Now, they could have done everything.
You can get pushed away, but nobody actually makes, nobody says, hi, here's a date for you. Why don't you two go out together? That's
even if they say that. Even if they present it to you on a platter. Even if she balls it up and throws it at you, you know, you ultimately make that choice.
Even if he shows up to your family as a broken man.
Don't do it.
I ain't going to go there.
Don't do it.
We already covered that. We ain't going to go no more. We've already covered that. Also, big shouts to Arcatron. I'm rocking the Arcatron shirt today. It's right, ARCKATRON. Check out the Space Bridge online. All them outlets. Listen to the music. It's dope. I'm on there. Anwar Hassai's on there. Parker Lewis is on there. So that means that all the 4 Horsemen are on there and so many others. It's dope. You need to check it out. So big shout out to Kid at Heart. Nice to see you up in the spot. What up, guys? Hit that thumbs up. You like what you see?
I was just reading that going, Kadat?
Kadat. So anyway, with that slid to the side, also want to give a big shout out to everybody out there doing their thing, like Blurtish. They got a 30% sale on their t-shirts. Double Toast is doing their thing. Thought Crimes, Black Tribbles, For All Nerds. Big shout out to all those guys that are out there killing it. But we can finally get into what we have been talking about offline for a while, which is finances and marriage.
No romance without finance. Got to be a certain age to know that song.
But guess what? You can be any age to get your finances with your mate together. Here's why. In many couples, there is a very similar through line of problems along the line of money, how to budget it, how to spend it, where's it going, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And I'm sure you probably heard it through your families or through your friends or maybe on television. Usually where a lot of problems come from in marriage, every now and then you'll see that money thing pop its head up again. You know what I'm saying? And here come the money.
Before we jump into that, let me backtrack a little bit. Finance is something that you all should have been talking about during your courtship.
Yes. But we talked
about that. And so, you know, money goals, how you think about finances, how you handle your finances, your current financial situation,
definitely,
credit score, income, debts, all of that should be discussed during courtship, because of course during courtship you are discussing marriage, you're considering marriage, and it's appropriate to do that so that once you get into marriage, it's not like a shocking surprise, you know, when you like, your credit is jacked. You owe
your credit is jacked too.
You owe $100,000 in debt
to the man.
You know, so yeah, just wanted to add that little piece in.
So we're gonna be approaching this from because I am not a money manager. I'm not going to tell you where to put your money or whatever. But we're going to approach this or at least I'm going to be approaching this from the standpoint of the agreements you need to be coming to with your partner, with your this is your wife, your husband, whatever. This is y'all going to be together and y'all going to be riding it out till the wheels fall off. Bad marriage for life.
Not.
We doing good marriages.
I rebuke that. But
we doing good marriages over here. Anyway, I guess I'll start off by saying, when in my perspective, when we first started, like, actually, oh, what up, Panda? Hey, how you doing? So once we first actually started, like, coming together, bringing money together, you know, you were working, I was working, and I would just kind of do whatever I wanted to do with my money, like pay bills however I saw fit, because I was used to, like, yo, I just pay bills on my own. And you were kind of just paying your stuff or doing whatever you wanted to do. And I think a big reason of why we came to such a problem later on, which I'll backtrack and get to in a second, is because we were so used to just like, oh, okay, cool, I go to work, I make this money, I pay this or I spend this or do whatever, and that's it. And same on my end. Oh, okay, this is due, pay it. This is due, pay it. Oh, pay extra right here, pay whatever. Yeah, without really talking to each other.
We were both still in the mode of being single in that respect.
Yeah.
You know, I had been on my own, you know, and had apartments and stuff and you know, budgeted, you know, I just was used to really just budgeting and had that kind of down in terms of being on my own, and so was Michael, and so we were still in that frame of mind, and we got to a point where we realized this isn't working.
Yeah.
You know, we can't keep doing this like we're on our own. We have to do this together.
Yeah, because we're, of course, as a married couple, we are now a unit. We need to move as one. I need to know what she's doing. She need to know what I'm doing. We need to have a plan of attack of whatever it is, whether it's if we're going to move or if we're going to stay or if we're going to buy this or buy that or how we're going to pay this down or we're going to get whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? We have to move as a unit. We got to attack. We can't just be two, not competing forces, but two separate, randomly functioning forces.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of communication gets lost because we weren't even really talking. We were just, it was just more like, this is paid, all right, cool. And it wasn't really like a plan set forth.
Or is this paid? Nah, didn't have enough to pay this. And it's like, you know,
it'll get paid later.
It'll get paid later, you know, and then it's like, oh, well, if I had known, then I would have spent money on X, Y, and Z. I could have chipped in. And so it was this miscommunication, you know, making.
Or lack of.
And making decisions without communicating and dealing with issues. One person dealing with issues on their own when the other one could have helped, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah.
So for us, we started off on a foundation of just kind of doing whatever. And especially with so much in America being a class issue or a finance issue, just doing whatever when you're supposed to be a unit is maybe not detrimental, but it's definitely counterproductive because you end up in this situation where
I'd say it's detrimental.
You don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing, and we're just kind of like in the wind. And you can't create a future when you're just in the wind. Yeah, you can't just let something happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, unless you are, I would say, wealthy, you cannot. Okay. No one can afford to just, you know, do whatever with their finances. You know, wealthy people can, but the thing is, they became wealthy by not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, or at least maintain whatever wealth they were given. Yeah. By not doing that. And so, you know, we had not discussed any financial goals. Nope. We had not discussed any financial, you know, philosophy. Nothing.
And this is something. This is coming from a couple where we had already discussed, do we want children? The kind of woman I want, the kind of man she wants, the kind of family we want, the kind of atmosphere we want to create for our child. We had checked off all these conversations where I am as a man. What do I value as far as characteristics in a man? Meaning who I'm going to be, who I want or hope to raise my son to be. Who she is as a woman, who she wants to be as a woman, who she would plan to raise her son or daughter up to be as a woman. Because at that time we didn't have a kid. So in this case, we had covered all those things that were, I guess you could say, personal. We, you know, kind of like we had covered all of those kind of like interpersonal relationship things, which are very important. But somehow just never really thought of the money stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah, and I mean, even to this moment, it's not like we actively hid from it. It's just it never hit us. What was always important was like, what kind of woman am I marrying?
Yeah, and
what kind of man are you marrying? What are we together? But it never came to our minds to think, oh yeah, money.
Yeah. So I mean, but it happens. You know, it happens. And so we had a difficult time. You know, I mean, and it didn't come from a place of, oh, you know, we forgot to have this conversation. Let's sit down and have it now. It came from a place of conflict.
Yes.
Conflict. And I think it also came from a place of frustration. Because like you said, we were both working and we had decent income because we were both working, but it's like, how come we got this money coming in, but the bills don't seem to be going nowhere? The debt don't seem to be going nowhere. We're paying stuff. And it just, and I know we've said this before, it sounds crazy. It's the way stuff was being paid.
Yeah,
and I know
it's the
that
way
sounds
things
crazy,
were being paid.
but it's the way things are being paid. Not planning out, okay, what bills are going to be paid with this check, you know, to stay ahead and not waiting until something is a few days past due. So it's the way you know, it was being or not being planned out, because that was the thing. It wasn't being planned out how stuff was going to be paid, when stuff was going to be paid. It was just by the seat of your pants.
True. And for us, it came to a head for me when Lisa was pregnant. So she's pregnant with NERDSoulite, pregnant with him, and you stopped working. And we were like, yo, what we're going to do is I'll work.
I stopped working. I didn't stop working when I was pregnant.
I'm just giving them the fast version. I'm just giving them the fast version.
Oh, so after I had them.
Yes, okay. I'm just giving them the fast version.
Because you said when I was pregnant I stopped working. It's like, no, I didn't.
Well, I'm just giving them the fast version. If you want the step by step, she was pregnant, she worked up, then she got sick, then she stopped working because the plan was to stop working after she had pregnant, all that stuff. We had worked all that out. I'm just going fast because, you know, you don't want this to be like a 4-hour.
I know, but okay, just go ahead.
All right, so she stops working. I'm working because we had decided I'm going to work. She'll stay at home. Cool, right? Well, when I'm working, she's at home, the amount of money coming into the home changes.
A lot.
And then also, and then also me doing whatever I wanted to do as far as how the bills were paid gets different because now I also don't have Lisa just doing whatever she wants to do. So now it's just one person doing whatever they want to do, and not, I wouldn't say intentionally like not telling you anything, but this is how we had operated up to this point.
Which already already wasn't good.
Which already wasn't good.
Already wasn't really working.
Nah.
We were getting by, but it already wasn't working.
We were doing okay. But we weren't nowhere where we're at now.
No.
So now it starts to build up where there's this issue with like, why didn't you pay this? Or why didn't you pay that? Or why did you pay this instead of this? And, you know, those kind of things. And Lisa, and I'll throw it to you, you've always been like the budgety person.
Not always, but that's something I had kind of
you're
gotten.
The budgety person.
Yeah, that's something I had gotten together, you know, some years. I'd say a few years before you and I got together. I had kind of handled my financial and credit issues and got into a system that worked really well for me. And, you know, I had helped friends at this point with getting their budgets together. And, you know, actually one of my friends told me, you know, to this day, she still uses the same system I sat down and helped her come up with to work for her. So, yeah. And so I remember having come to you a couple times, you know, with this, and you were just like, no, don't need it, don't want it, don't need it.
And let me, now keep that, stay right there, stay right on that. The reason Lisa would be like, hey, I did this before, you know, as far as like handling debt over here or over there and paying current bills, whatever. I've done this before by, you know, this handy dandy little, you know, like budget. And I don't do things where I write things down. I rarely do stuff like that. But that's also because I'm used to being by myself. Or even we were together at first, I was doing whatever I had to do with the money and she was doing whatever she had to do with the money. So we still didn't have that cohesive unit where we knew what was happening. We knew. So now when she comes up with this, what I'm hearing is, you don't know what to do. Give it to me because you don't know how to lead us anymore as a husband. That's what I was hearing.
He reached way
but
I understand. But it's like,
that's what I'm hearing.
What?
You know, I'm like, yo, I'm out here, I'm working my butt off, I'm doing this, I'm paying this, I'm doing this. I'm working, I'm grinding, I'm doing my thing. And all I'm hearing is, you can't take care of us. That's what I'm hearing.
And that ain't what I said, y'all.
That's why I said this is what I'm hearing. Yeah. Like, so, when she comes to me with like, hey, there's this budget, I wrote this stuff out, this is my ideas and my plans. What I'm hearing is, my plan isn't worthy or whatever like that. Yeah. Instead of saying, no, oh, well, now I'll let you go, you go.
Well, yeah. So what it was is, neither of us were communicating, I think, really well with each other. I wasn't communicating well with what I was trying to say to him. And what I was trying to really say to him is that, you know, it's not really working out how we're paying our bills and everything. We are still like just making it, and after we pay bills, we're still like, there's not enough money to do what we need to do. There has to be another way to do this. I wasn't communicating that well to him, and he wasn't communicating well to me what he was feeling, because I was coming to him with this, because he would do was snap back, and I couldn't understand why. And
it was a long time until we actually.
A long time, and I'm gonna tell you what made the difference for me in terms of what I had to do different. And I told you this. I had to actually go and pray about it, because I had to first, you know, in prayer, check myself to make sure this wasn't a thing of me feeling only I could do this. And that wasn't the case. I knew that I was able to do this budgeting thing well. And, you know, I've always told you, I'm your helpmate. And so this is coming from a point of view of, you are my husband and the head of the household. I'm your helpmate. So as your helpmate, I felt, you know, I needed to come to you with this different way of doing things and help, because you make all the money, you bring the money into the household. But I, you know, knew that I could figure out a better way for us to manage it. So I had to pray about how I came to him. And, you know, after doing that, I was able to come to you in that way and say, look, I'm not trying to take over. I'm not saying you do anything wrong. I'm not saying that, you know, you don't know what you're doing. What I'm just saying is there is a better way, and I want to help and present this way of doing this for us. Yeah. And then he was able to open up to me and tell me how he had been feeling, and we got all of that worked out, and you know, kind of went from there.
And the craziness is, even when, because you started like writing down the budgets and everything. So she started writing down, you know, this is what we make, this is what we're gonna pay, blah blah blah. This is everything that we owe, all our bills, debt, whatever. This is what we're gonna start paying. How we gonna start paying? And then I would definitely push back against that, because I'm so like, used to, yo, we gotta pay, this is the most important bill, we got to pay this, or this is the second most important, we got to pay, you ain't even got this on the paper right here, why this ain't, you ain't putting the paper, you don't know what you do, you messing up the money, look, why, I got the money right here, and I'm supposed to put it, and it was on this date, and it,
you did. It's
so
like,
we fought back
but see,
and
that
forth.
Ain't what the budget said. So you paid this, and I told you weren't supposed to pay this yet.
Yes.
That's for the next paycheck.
And that was
you just
my
paying
fault.
Stuff.
And I was switching around monies and stuff. That was my fault.
I could have.
It was my fault. But I had to finally get to a point of like, look, let it go. Let this go. Because I'm on the front lines. So if I'm on the front lines out working, if I'm on the front lines, I don't have the time really. I mean, you can, if you really want to stress yourself, you can, but I don't have the time to be off the front lines planning the future because I'm dealing with now. So I'm like, okay, if I'm on the front lines, then I've got to have a, I don't know, general or something that's planning where we gonna go. You know what I'm saying? So what up, Pim Griffey? What up, Lotus Scholar? Nice to see y'all. So Lisa's like, yo, I'm planning where we gonna go and we gonna get there. But since I'm dealing with things on the front lines now, I'm scared that this won't get paid. I'm scared that, but you're in the back like, no, I've got the paper. Here's the paper. It's going to be fine. I already wrote this. Like, the girl has written down budgets to like 2022 or something. I don't know. Just mad budgets, tons of papers. And I'm not a paper guy. I'm not papers and stuff flying all over. I'm not that person. But thank God, Lady Lisa is. So Lisa has been that part that I could never fulfill because of the way I was used to handling money on my own. Because of course, you know, my first marriage, her first marriage, we're just kind of going through it. So once I was like, okay, stop fighting her. Let her do this so that y'all can win, stupid. So the more I stop, because it's very rare. When's the last time you've told me to pay something? I've been like, are you sure we should pay this? When's the last time? It's been
a minute, yeah.
A long time. It's been a minute. Because I used to, all right, I went from her making the budget and then me still paying what I wanted to anyway.
Oh my God. Look, remember when we would argue via email because you were at work and I would send you the budget because you wouldn't ask for it because you ain't really want it. But when it was time to pay stuff, I'd send you, okay, all right, you can ready to get it paid. Here's what you need to pay. You was like, all right, okay, Michael, what did you pay? I paid da-da-da-da. Ain't nobody tell you to pay that, Michael. Nobody told you to pay that. But I paid what you wanted me to, but I paid extra. See that extra was supposed to go towards this, Michael.
Supposed to go over here.
That's supposed to be in the bank, there. Michael. That's supposed to go to groceries, Michael. You need to think about we need laundry detergent, did you, Michael? See?
So
you a line stepper,
right,
Michael.
So
you
I was habitual line stepper. So all right, level one was her making the budget and me fighting it completely by like I'd follow it sometimes I wouldn't follow it. I'd do what I wanted to. Then we got to level 2, which was she was still making the budget, but then I would question everything. So now I'm paying everything the budget says, but not without that questioning. So say if she said pay, I don't know, pay rent and pay the lights or something like that. So I'd be like, why are we paying the lights now? Are you sure we need to pay the lights now? Why are we doing
the lights ain't due until a month from now. I know. But with this, we have to pay X, Y, and Z in this with this check.
Yes.
And that's more bills to pay for that check.
Yes.
But if we pay, yeah.
So that was level 2. So then level 3 was finally being like, all right, you do what you want with this budget. I will follow it.
Now, let me ask you this though.
But in level 3, there was still some like, are you sure? Not fighting, but just being like, are you sure? Are you sure we have enough? Can I see next week's? Let me look.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So the level 3 was like a little bit nicer pushback.
But let me ask you this. Were you seeing progress? Or were you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. During all this time, I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing us catching up with all the bills together. And especially, there were some times the check would come through and you'd be like, don't pay the rent, pay this. And I'll be like, because I'm one of those people, I'm like, yo, what do you mean don't pay rent? What you mean? She'd be like, don't pay the rent on this one. We're going to get this next check. Just handle this here. We're going ahead. And whenever you said don't pay the rent, your boy, your boy will be scared. All right, shout out to Markeith Collins. But finally, we got to the level where I'm continuing seeing progress of us catching up to stuff, and then finally being like, you know what? Let this go. There's no reason to fight this. We're doing fine. Why am I still arguing? And then ever since that moment, what do I say? Yo, what we paying?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
What we paying?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I literally, you know, just you go to your computer and I literally go down the line.
I'll be like, how?
And
what we paying?
You
what
know,
you need?
Like when
where
you had
go?
to, for the last one, you had to pay your registration. I gave you the thing.
Gave me
so
thing,
you could
registration.
Go online and, you know, you didn't ask.
I ain't asked no questions.
Because that wasn't
because
that's
now,
not due. I think until like late August or maybe September. But you didn't even ask why.
I didn't ask. I was just like,
trusted
look,
the
I
process.
know she got it.
Look at God.
Look, see, but I was a knucklehead forever with her about this, but it's because this is one of the things that even though we were figuring out the man and woman we wanted to be married to, we never circled around to like, hey, what about that money thing? Mm-hmm. And now we're in a much better place because of you. Because if you weren't there with that foresight to sit down and just be, and also being a math and science teacher doesn't hurt either. But having all the numbers, she like that gif with all the numbers flying around her eyes. Like she got all the numbers written, all kinds of plus and minuses and all down the paper and all kinds of things. I don't know what all that says, but I know that Lisa's doing this for our future, so that we can be productive, and also so that we can be more comfortable than we were, because even with the same money, well, no, in the midst of it, I did get another position, which changed.
We got blessed.
Changed things considerably.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Let's not skip over that. We got blessed,
yes.
But
yes, because I changed the position, so that did change things too.
Yeah, but if we hadn't gotten this budget thing together,
we'd still be all right. If I didn't get the new position, we'd still be all right. Because
yes, but what I was going to say though, you know, without the budget and even you having this newer position, which is more income for us, without the budget, we still wouldn't have been right, because it matters, you know, how you manage your money. You can be making, you know, a $1 million
a year, right, or something like that.
And if you're not budgeting it correctly, you're not really going to benefit from it.
Yeah. So all of that to say, now this is this kind of falls in line with similar what I was talking about, housewives, women to stay at home, because there was that argument about like because there was an argument that a friend of ours girlfriend had with her sister, and then also worries and stuff that you had about your value, because of course Lisa, this is her first time being a stay-at-home mom, just like my first time being a husband. And even though Lisa's doing all of this, and all of this is making us win, there were times when you felt a certain way about your value in our relationship. Yeah,
and you know, my value in the relationship, and just, you know, that was a struggle for me, because again, you know, I had worked since I could work, you know, when I was 16, and always used to working. You know, at one point I was working like 3 jobs, not because I had to, because I really wanted to, you know what I mean, and I could. But you know, again, I was on my own. But at any rate, I was always used to working, and it was a very weird thing to not be contributing, to not know what the bills were, because I guess my frame of mind went to like, I didn't want to be one of those women that, God forbid, something happened to you and I have no idea about what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
And that was a big thing that you brought to me that also made me realize, I got to get this stuff together.
Yeah, I don't know what bills to pay. I don't know what bills there are. I don't even know the name of the company, the website, the password, you know, nothing.
And that was a struggle too. But when you brought that up, that's in staying where you are, because we're going to get back to that. Mm-hmm. The whole thing of like, knowing the I don't know, the internet stuff or the power company stuff or the bank stuff or whatever, all that was something that I don't know why, just so resistant to, and it was probably under the thing of like, I've got this, I can do this, I'm going to do this on my own, I can do it, I don't need no help kind of thing. And
I don't know. I think also because you just were still being very private about everything. Like everything is like your business. It ain't my business. And I'm like, I'm your wife. What you talking about?
But when you brought that up, that made me realize, like, yo, ain't nothing promised. I could go to the grocery store and, I don't know, car blow up, something like that. And if that happens, you know, Lisa or any other wife would be sitting around like, well, I don't know what owes what or what pay who or who goes where or what money is for. I don't know anything. And thinking of you and thinking of my son as well, I was like, yo, like I gotta put that in check as well. Yeah. But then continue on to the whole value thing of
and so, you know, I just kind of went through this thing of, you know, I'm not contributing. I just kept focusing on I'm not contributing anything financially to the household, you know. And then, you know, when we were going through times where it's like, you know, money was tight, I would feel guilty because it's like, if I were working, then I could help out with this, you know. If I were working, I could do that and other. I didn't like the idea of having to go to my husband and ask for money. It's like, I haven't done that since I was a little girl, to go to anybody and ask, you know what I mean? Ask for money because I didn't have any of my own, you know? So I went through that whole thing, and it just wasn't good. You know, it's not a good feeling to have to go through that.
Yeah. So, and piggybacking off of that, one, it was interesting seeing how she felt guilty because, and Born Eternal, wow, you got a long, Born Eternal Lord Allah. What up? Nice to see you. So her feeling guilty, and it's funny because the perceptions are always so different. I'm happy she's at home. I'm like, yo, look at all this stuff that we're getting because Lisa's at home. Meanwhile, Lisa's feeling guilty. And I had to have a conversation with you where I was like, you do contribute to the home. Like, okay, for instance, we just ran down how Lisa is basically running the accounting of the house or whatever, right? How much does it cost to have a personal accountant? Well, whatever that monthly fee is, you contribute that to the home. Lisa watches Lil Mike all day. Guess what? How much would it cost to have daycare? Especially for a little one that's like, I think from 0 to 3, it's even more expensive. So because they have diapers and all that stuff. So how much would daycare cost? Oh, you're also cooking. How much would that cost? Oh, you're also taking him to events and field trips and well, not in Corona timeline, but before. How much would that cost? So when you wrap all those things around together, also, you're a healthcare provider. You're also making sure he's safe, taking him to the doctor, blah, blah, blah. When you go to, if you look online for however much a personal nanny is that will do all these things, plus you're talking about someone who's bringing in, now, of course, it's not dollars, but someone who's bringing in the value of $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 grand a month. And of course, you know, where you live may be different, but in LA, that can easily run you $8 grand a month. Easily. I know about people that are caretakers or that are either being nannies or whatever that are getting that dough out here in LA. There's a lot. Now, of course, you might not be in a place where the market cap is that large, but easily bringing in $4, $5 grand a month. So I had to like let her see, like, this is the value that you bring in here. And I never look at you like you're guilty, like something's wrong. I'm looking like, wow, when I walk out the door, when I go anywhere, and this could be vice versa. I hope this could be vice versa. But when I walk out the door, I never wonder what's going to happen to my child. I have not a care in the world because I know Lisa is right there for him. You can't say that for daycares. I'm not going to throw a daycare out there, but you can't say that for daycares. Yeah. You can't even really say that for nannies, for really real. But when I walk out, I don't worry about nothing. I know the house is taken care of. That's a value on peace of mind that you cannot equate. Being like, my son is in the best hands possible in the world. You can't put a dollar amount on that. But if you were to try to like find these occupations, easily bringing in more money than I'm bringing in. So I'm like, driving that home, kind of like Lisa started to look at it differently. Like, okay, because I think sometimes women are like, oh, well, I'm just washing dishes. And it's like, no, if we were to hire someone, how much money would that be? Well, that's the amount of money you're bringing into this house. That's the value you're bringing into this house. You know what I'm saying? If we were to have daycare, that's the value you're bringing into this house.
And I'm gonna say this too, you know, and this is something I actually had to kind of work through too, because then after that, of course, it moved on to, okay, but there are women every day, all the time, who go to work and maintain the home, you know, but I had to work through that and go, okay, that's true. And truth be told, if I had to do that, I would. Yeah. But, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want anybody to be offended by this, because I mean no offense. But you have to admit that for every woman that does that, you can't give, you know, full care to the home or your child, because you are working full time. Not to say that you're not being a good mother or a good wife, but, you know, it just isn't fully there, you know, because...
Yeah, I mean, even to your point, like, my mother was a single mother for large parts of my childhood. And, you know, she couldn't take me to, like, practice or whatever. I had to kind of get a ride with a friend's mom or something like that, you know. So there's things that you missed. You know what I'm saying? Or things that she would miss, or things that you wouldn't be able to be together on,
I remember
because she was doing everything on her own. And you have to, when you're doing everything on your own, you can't be at practice, because you got to be at here doing this. Or you can't,
I remember my mom told me she remembers when I was little and I was going to my babysitter, and the babysitter called her and told her that I just walked, and she said all she could do is cry on the phone because she missed it. You know, I walked for the first time at the babysitter's while she was at work. Now, of course, that's something she had to do. You know what I mean? She had to work. You know, but you know, it's a sacrifice and a blessing. You know, we are making we are sacrificing that extra income for me to stay at home, but it's a blessing that we are able to make it without me having to go back to work. I understand for some people it's like, you ain't gonna make it, you know, without the extra income. And not to say that, you know, we balling like that, because that's not, ain't nobody balling, but it's a sacrifice that we decided to make, and you know,
and Josh Grant says, what up, Josh Grant says, yeah, but not really though. Income is income. I'd argue that income is income.
Not really. What is he responding to exactly?
I'm assuming that you're talking about me with the value that, you know, a stay-at-home mom or dad would bring to the home. I'm guessing. Expand on that just in case. Lami says, question for y'all. If NERDSoulite was school age right now, what moves would y'all will you make in the fall? Well, we've already discussed
to the living room for him to have homeschool.
We've already discussed that. We're homeschooling NERDSoulite. We don't trust the system that schools our children, children that look like us, and we're not going to put him through that.
That was our decision.
That was our decision way before.
That was our decision. I would say we discussed that when we were dating.
We had discussed that. Once again, courtship. We had discussed that back when we were courting each other. Back when I was like, look, I want to be married, I want to have a family, blah blah blah. We had discussed that way back.
Yeah, but you know, I'm glad you asked that question, because that just further, you know, supports our idea of he ain't going to school, because, you know, this whole thing of some schools, you know, opening, I just think it's ridiculous. You know, people are still working from home, people are still having work meetings. They're having meetings. The school boards are having meetings via Zoom because it's not safe enough to have meetings in person to talk about opening the schools. Hello. If the school board don't think it's safe to meet in person, why are we talking about putting the kids back in school?
I would say this, if you can, because I know everybody's situation is different, but if you can, I would start to immediately, or at least slowly, as much as you can, remove our children from this system that persecutes them at every turn. Our kids are disciplined in schools more per issue, per situation than any other white counterpart. And the school to prison pipeline is real.
Very real.
Now on to Josh Grant's statement. I kind of see sort of where you're going, but in this, everyone's situation is different. Every locality is different. But here in Los Angeles, Lisa would essentially be working to pay for daycare.
Yeah.
Like your monthly, what you would bring in monthly, after all is said and done with taxes and everything, essentially you would be going to work so that someone else could watch your kid.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
And I would say this for any family. You are better at watching your child. Well, I hope you are better at watching your child than someone else is. Now, I don't know everybody's family, but I would assume that you would bring more care, you would bring more love and more, I guess you could say, tender guidance to your child than, XYZ daycare.
Yeah. Now, I will say, of course, it's up to you to make sure that your kid has social interactions, because of course that's one big benefit of having your child go to daycare and go to school is the social interactions. And so before COVID, I had Mikey going to the story time at the library where he could sit with the kids and play with the kids and interact and learn how he's supposed to really interact and all that kind of stuff, and take him to the playground and he kind of do the same thing. So of course you have to make sure you do that, but you do have more control over the values that you instill in your child, because of course sending them to school,
they coming home with another kid's values.
They coming home with all this other stuff
that you have to teach them out of.
Exactly, and it's hard because they're in school, all day. They're with you for less time per day than they are at school. So yeah.
What up, Tyler Bennett? Said mixed feelings. I don't know what you mean by that. Expand on that. But yeah, you can leave a comment in the in the replay or whatever. I don't know.
Well, you got mixed feelings.
Maybe you put something up there and I missed it. But mixed feelings, I don't know what you mean by mixed feelings. But yeah, expand on that. But yeah, in many cases, a lot of people are working to pay for daycare. I'll say here in Los Angeles, daycare monthly can almost be the cost of your rent. Now, I don't know, every city is different. There's different places where it's different. But from my perspective, I'm like, well, if we gonna pay all this for daycare for some people I don't know, and you always getting some story in the news of how some kid went missing, some kid got beat up, or some kid got mistreated by some daycare worker or whatever.
Yeah. Left them in the van.
Not left in the van. Okay. Nah. If that's the case, might as well stay home. And this is vice versa. Depending on, like, say if Lisa was making X amount of dollars, I'd be like, guess who's staying home? Me. Guess who's staying home? Because, ever since the budget thing, I'm like, look, I'm about us winning. I don't care about how we look or how people think, whatever. Look, we a unit, we about winning. That's it. If Lisa, we're in Los Angeles right now. Say Lisa gets a call we're from Virginia. You used to teach in Virginia. Say Lisa gets a call right now to go run some kind of teaching thing, teaching curriculum thing in Virginia, and they want to give you $250,000 a year. Guess what? I'm staying at home, y'all. It's a slam dunk. What are we doing here? Dollars and cents. So, but yeah, on the real, that's something that I thought was very important to express, at least from my perspective, to Lisa, because I never want Lisa to feel like she's less than, or I never want Lisa to feel like she's not valued here, because the bottom line is, like, what you do is so important to just be thrown off as like, oh, I'm a housewife. Well, it's like, now, of course, housewives are different. There could be the housewife that all you do is get day drunk and watch TV. But that's not.
I think those are the housewives where
that's like the TV housewives.
Yeah, where their husbands make a stupid amount of money and they don't have to clean.
And I ain't stupid amount of money yet.
Yeah, they don't have to clean. They don't have to cook. They pay somebody to take care of the kids.
Yeah.
But they have nothing to do.
You're what I would consider a real housewife. Like, you interact with your children or your child. You interact with your child. You make him meals. You teach them and have them with numbers and books and sign language and all kinds. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that if you were to pay for, you'd probably be broke. You know what I'm saying? Trying to pay for all that stuff. So just letting her know the value that she brings. And then also not ever making you, at least I hope I have it, never make her feel a certain way about money either. Because you say that, like, having to ask for money. I hope that you've never had to feel like, I gotta ask for money. It's like, no. Nah. This money is for everybody. And speaking about that, I'll leave off this because I know we come into time in a little bit. Got about a few more minutes. I remember we were arguing and going at it in the car. And you said something about, like, I don't have my own money. And I'm like, I don't have my own money. I was like, let's look at the budget. Get the check. Rent, power, groceries, this, that, savings, blah, 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 here, there. Where is the Michael money? Where is this sliver of, like, this all mine?
And I was like,
we going out to eat. Guess what? That's everybody. Where is my personal me? And you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of times with that perception, you have to kind of like come to the table. Come to the table and be like, yo, look, y'all, like, this is what I'm seeing. And then be like, oh no, like, I know you think you seeing this, but that's not what's really going on.
Kid at Heart, what is you talking about?
Kid at Heart said house hussy. I don't even know
what you're talking about.
I don't even know what in the world he's talking about.
You having your own conversation.
So, but yeah, just never making your partner, whether it's husband or wife, feel less than due to whatever the financial situation is, and making sure you guys are moving as a unit, man. Like, for real. Like, that's probably what I'd say to kind of like make sure y'all have a conversation about. Hopefully this conversation has helped you realize that either your conversations ain't too crazy and out of left field, or that, maybe we should have this conversation too. Because I cannot tell you how much better things are now because of this budget. Go and get them ready so he can come over here.
Right on time.
Go and get your pants first. Get your pants
first.
Here.
Let's put some pants on you. Come on.
So it's one of those things where I think it is as important as deciding who you're marrying. What kind of man is this? What kind of woman is this? What are we going to go into? What do we want to have as a family concerning values? This is just as important. And when overlooked, like we did at first, it kind of ends up being one of those things where it's like, oh, we're fighting. Why are we fighting? Oh, well, this isn't a big deal, but it's a big deal. And maybe we should have covered this long ago. Yeah. Want to go up? Want to get up? All right, go. Come on. All right, so, oh, you want your, we'll oh boy. So, with that said, how you want to leave them, Lisa? Drop some dimes before we get out of here.
I was just gonna say, have this conversation, and of course, we gave you, what works for us.
Yeah.
It's not about, you following what anybody else says. It's about having the conversation and doing what works for you. You need to figure out, what works for you. Discuss money. Discuss your financial goals. Discuss how you're gonna handle it. How you're gonna budget. Who's gonna be in charge of the budget. Are we both working? Are we not working? Where's your money going? Where, all of those things need to be discussed. I mean, I think a lot of people have the idea of, oh, it'll all just work out. Again, unless you are just independently wealthy, don't think it's just going to work out. Your money has to be accounted for and planned, or it's, I think it's safe to say it's going to be some issues, and you'll find yourself arguing about stuff, and it's like, it's not even about what you're arguing about. You're frustrated about money. Yeah,
that's what's up. So, guys, before we get out of here, big shout out to everybody in the chat that came through. Tyler Bennett, Jamal Lee, Kid at Heart, Panda, Lotus Scholar, Pim Griffey, Born Eternal Lord Allah, Markeith Collins, Womo came through, Lami came through. Who else came? I think that's it. So we had, and Tyler, you never circle back. What's up, T? Tyler, what's up? You never circle back. Talk about, I know you got mixed feelings. Mixed feelings on what? I don't even know what you're talking about. Tyler, tell me. Anyway, guys, before we get out of here, Lisa, say peace.
Peace, y'all.
All right, NERDSoulite, it's good to see you. Give 5. I love you, little baby.
You still sleeping.
I love you too, Dad. say peace, Lord. All right, guys. So NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. Thanks for rolling through. YouTube is the hub. Hit that subscribe, that thumbs up. You hit that thumbs down. I'ma send. How about Letitia and Marceau after you? I'll send them 2 after you, and you ain't gonna like it because both of them kind of chatty. So, guys, before we get out of here, much love. Check out all the stuff. See y'all next time, which should be on Sundays. But with this little guy, you never know when it's going to happen. So we'll leave you guys with, of course, Arcatron. That's right. The Space Bridge is out. Check it out right there online. Arcatron has dope music. That's all that needs to be said. We're going to leave it. And from us to you, peace, 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 peace. Peace, peace, we out. Peace, peace, a peace, peace. Peace, peace, a peace, peace. Peace, peace.